W&R podcast. I'm your host Andrew. I'm really glad that you're here today for another episode, our second episode. So, if you're tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the crew. And if you've been here with us since our very first episode, I appreciate for your coming back for a more engaging session. Today, we are going into a topic that it is really pretty much relatable to us, dating in the digital age. It's a really different topic to discuss. And let us look back to where we came from. Dating used to be a lot simpler. You meet someone in class or work, or maybe through a friend. You'd exchange numbers, talk a little, or maybe go out for coffee, or even catch a movie. Moving to today, it seems like just swiping right if you like my picture, or maybe swipe left if you don't. It's all just about photos and bios. And sometimes I really wonder if we're losing this bit of human touch. And that's what I really want us to dig into today. The ups, the downs, and what am I even doing? Moments of this digital dating era. So, what is this big question that we really want to discuss today? Do dating apps make things easier, or do they just make things different? It's true, they can actually do both. They can open up these opportunities, and you can really meet people you never thought you'd run into otherwise. It's an amazing thing. But what comes with this, it's a bit of an overwhelming journey. And how do you know that if you're making this real connection? If it's this just another swipe and go situation, are you able to differentiate the two? And with this, I really want us to talk about these daily habits that help us navigate through this whole journey of online dating scene with a little more intention. I think we all need this bit of grounding so that we are not just about swiping our way through without really connecting with genuine people. So we'll be discussing 5 top habits that you really want to have to ensure that you're able to navigate through the digital dating era. So our very first habit is we should always set time limits for swiping. Alright, it's a fast daily habit, and I know this sounds very funny, but here it is. We really want to have a set time limit for your swiping. Have you ever found yourself in this endless loop of swiping and realized like, wow, I've been at this for an hour? Yeah, it's so easy to get sucked in, and here's what I've learned. Give yourself a limit, maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day. Set a timer if you have to, because if it keeps on going into this endless loop of swiping, you won't keep this thing as casual. Become an addict. So setting a timer for yourself helps keeping it casual and stop it from feeling like it's a responsibility that you really have to accomplish within the course of your day. Think of it this way: less time swiping or more time doing literally anything else. Because honestly, dating shouldn't feel like you have this part-time job. With a limit, you're also focusing on quality over quantity, and you're not falling into this endless buffet mindset. You're more likely to actually connect with the genuine people you match, because you haven't spent hours looking at these hundreds of profiles that at some point are going to change your judgment on who you may be matched. So, coming into our very second habit is that let us be real in our bios. This is huge, and let us face it, bios on these dating sites are so weird. It's like, hey, summarize yourself in a sentence or two, make it quickie, but not too quickie, pressure. And here's my take in regards to that. The more genuine you are, the better chances that you have of attracting people who like you for you. Skip the cliche lines and cryptic stuff. Just be real. People can see through that anyway. Instead, think about these few unique things that you really enjoy, or cookies that actually present who you are. Whether that's avid breakfast, or always down to these spontaneous road trips, anything that helps people get a feel for the real you. It might feel like you're putting yourself out there a bit more, but hey, if it's going to save you from much of the fizzle out, it is worth it. go for it. Habit number 3, don't rush into meeting. Habit number 3 is all about pacing, because take your time before you meet a person, this guy in person or this lady in person. I know it can be tempting to set up a date as soon as possible to see if there's chemistry, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like me and you want to feel comfortable fast, there's no harm in messaging for a bit longer to get a vibe check. Give it a few days, have a couple of solid conversations, and then if things are clicking, click it, go for it. And here's why I think pacing is so important, because when you rush into meeting someone you barely know, it can really lead to disappointment, or even worse, this awkward silence over dinner. And a little patience goes a long way in seeing if there's actual compatibility, because besides, it's better to meet someone you really feel like there's already a connection forming, rather than meeting them when you're so cold you really don't have this thing to tell them. So take your time and don't rush into meetings. Habit number 4, avoid the highlight reel trap, because one habit I think we should all work on is avoiding this highlight reel. I mean, we all hype ourselves, and things are not going to be that way, because we put out the best photos and we share only on our cool, interesting sides. But in reality, life isn't all about the glossy side of the mirror, because life is all about valleys, downs, and we all have these bad sides of us. And that is a little challenge. So when you're chatting with someone new, try bringing up something normal, even embarrassing about yourself, because you don't have to give away your deepest secrets, but share something that just real. Maybe you have this random obsession with true crime podcasts. These are the things that make us human, and they break that highlight illusion that social media and dating apps actually are bringing it out. So if you're able to maintain your genuineness and be the real, I hope that you're going to connect with more genuine people than keeping the highlight reel all over your social media. Habit number 5, don't forget about self-care. And this is the most important habit, because don't let dating consume you. Seriously, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement, and I know the adrenaline of new connection is always kicking, but at the end of the day, you know how to look after yourself. Remember that whole episode, one thing about self-love, in our very first episode, it really applies here. You really have to look out for yourself, because once you're down, it's so hard to find a shoulder to lean on or come up. So make sure you're doing things that make you happy, whether it's hanging out with friends, doing a hobby, or just taking some downtime. The right person will definitely add to your life, not take away you from it. And if you find yourself constantly stressed or anxious because of dating, maybe it's time to take a little break from it. There's no rush. Sometimes the best connections happen when you're not even looking. And this is what we really want to discuss in the W&R podcast. Let us hear your side of the story and let us discuss. So basically, the recap is that we have 5 core habits that we really need to have in order to navigate through the dating the digital age. Set time for limits for swiping. Be real with your bio. Then avoid the high reel trap. Don't rush into it. And one last important thing, don't forget about self-care. So guys, thank you for tuning into the W&R podcast. I hope we found a little inspiration, something to laugh about, or even